Good evening. The April 1st meeting of the Board of Education is now called to order. Please rise for the pledge to the flag.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ms. Hill, roll call, please.
Mr. Callahan?
Here.
Mrs. Strakowski?
Here.
Mr. Fernandez?
Here.
Mrs. Hernandez?
Absent.
Mrs. Maldonado?
Here.
Mrs. Napolitano?
Here.
Mrs. Paboon?
Here.
Mr. Smith?
Here.
Mrs. Bloom?
Here. Ms. Hill, please summarize the executive session.
The board discussed personnel, including but not limited to the agenda items and student matters.
Ms. Hill, any correspondence?
Yes, the board received invitations to the Sayreville War Memorial High School Hall of Fame banquet on April 26, 2025.
We need a motion to approve the minutes of the March 18th meeting.
So moved. Second.
Mr. Callahan?
Yes.
Yes.
Mrs. Strakowski?
Yes.
Mr. Fernandez?
Yes.
Mrs. Hernandez?
Absent.
Mrs. Maldonado?
Yes.
Mrs. Napolitano?
Yes.
Mrs. Paboon?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mrs. Bloom?
Yes. Dr. Labby, any
Oh, wait, sorry.
student council representatives? Morgan Kuhn.
Good evening, Board of Education members and administrators. My name is Morgan Kuntz, SWMHS Student Council Board of Education representative. I would like to begin with clubs and activities. Studio art students in Miss Charmello's classes traveled to the Jessie Soliver School to paint an enchanted forest mural in the lower wing for the preschoolers who were mesmerized by the talent of the big kids. Students in the Peer Leadership Club visited Escapology to practice their problem-solving skills. As expected, they all successfully escaped. The high school administration and faculty celebrated the outstanding academic performance of over 210 students who achieved straight A's in the second marking period during the Renaissance Breakfast. Some students visited the Stevens Institute of Technology to explore their amazing campus, witness college life, and see STEM in action. Juniors also visited the College of New Jersey to explore the campus and to get the feel of being a college student for the day. The theater students put on an amazing show last week with their performance of the Addams Family musical. Thank you to the cast, the crew, the orchestra, staff, and volunteers for all the time and effort that they put in to make this masterpiece. Moving on to sports. The girls' flag football team attended the Big Central Conference, where the team held its first media day for the sport at Franklin High School last week. Coaches, athletic directors, and selected players also spoke about the upcoming season. Additionally, the girls won their first game last week against Piscataway with a finishing score of 20-9. The boys' lacrosse team defeated Montgomery High School last week to earn its first victory of the season. The boys' golf team evened its season record to 2-2 after beating North Brunswick and Colonia High Schools in their matches last week. The boys' volleyball team defeated Thomas Edison Energy Charter and Keyport High Schools to begin their season with a 2-0 record. The track team had their first meet last week against North Plainfield. Both the boys and girls teams took home the win by a great margin. Thank you for your time and support.
Say, Mrs. Bloom, I have a couple.
Student council.
Mrs. Bloom?
Mrs. Bloom, I have a couple questions.
Yes.
Morgan, did you go to the escape room?
Morgan, did you go to the escape room?
I did not. I am not in peer leadership, but I want to be.
How did you do in the track meet?
How did you do in the track meet?
I did okay. Not how I wanted to do, but it was also really, really cold. But it's okay. We have another meet tomorrow, so I'm excited.
Are you going to the ribbon cutting at the aquatic center on Friday?
Are you going to the ribbon cutting at the aquatic center on Saturday?
On Friday.
On Friday?
Yes, I am. I'm really excited to see the new pool.
Me too.
Me too.
And Mrs. Bloom, I have a question too.
Mrs. Bloom, I have a question too.
Morgan, did you go to
Yes.
the play?
Morgan, did you go to the play?
I did not go to the play, unfortunately.
You missed a magnificent performance.
Oh, wow, you missed a magnificent performance.
Yes, I heard. My friends told me.
Student Council Representative Alana Saragnis.
Good evening, Board of Education members and administrators. My name is Alana Saragny, Sayreville Middle School Student Council Board of Education representative. Here's what is going on at Sayreville Middle School. The Student Council met last week. We will host the Spirit Week April 7th to 11th. We will be hosting the Anything Goes Assembly on May 12th. After voting, we will be hosting a collection for Sammy's Hope. The PTO hosted a successful international night last Friday. Students voted for the 8th grade theme for the formal. The formal will be held on June 13th. The PTO is hosting a Wizards game on April 22nd at SWMHS. You can purchase tickets on the PTO Facebook page. The PTO will be putting $40 per 8th grader to lower the cost of the 8th grade trip. On Thursday, March 27th, 46 students from the middle school FBLA chapter attended the State Leadership Conference. Of those 46 students, 23 of them placed in top 4, which they qualified to attend the National Leadership Conference this summer in Anaheim, California. Miss Annette is so proud of their hard work and can't wait to see what they do this summer. Odyssey of the Mind will be competing next weekend at the state finals at J.P. Stevens High School in Edison. On Thursday, March 27th, 46 students. The Community Service Club and Student Council are currently selling tickets to a Blue Claws game on May 10th. Scott Nerberg will be throwing out the first pitch. Come out to the ball game and support the middle school. Community Service Club will be putting together Take Your Child to Work Day activities for visiting children. Class advisors are collecting the permission slips and money this week for 8th grade class trip to Eagles Landing. The trip will be taking place on June 2nd. Please bring permission slips and money outside the cafeteria during your lunch period. Now on to the Sayreville Middle School athletics. The boys and girls track opened their track season today. The Sayreville Gray softball team opened up their season this afternoon against Middlesex, and the blue team will open up their season on Thursday when they take on Sandburg. Best of luck on a successful season for all of our players. Coach Vasquez, Coach Eicher, and Coach Swartz are very proud of how hard the girls have been working and are very excited for a great season ahead. Thank you very much for this opportunity to speak on behalf of the students at Sayreville Middle School.
Say your comments.
Ms. Bloom, I have questions.
Yes.
Thank you, Alana, for the great report.
Thank you, Alana, for the great report.
Thank you.
Can you share with us what the middle school formal theme is going to be?
Can you share with us what the middle school formal theme is going to be?
They actually haven't told us yet.
Ooh, so it's a secret.
Ooh, so it's a secret.
I think. Well, they're probably gonna tell us soon, but they haven't released it yet.
So now that cheering is over, are you doing anything in the spring?
So now that cheering is over, are you doing anything in the spring?
No, I'm not.
Just focusing on your grades?
Just focusing on your grades?
Yeah, and all-star cheer.
Oh, all-star cheer, that's fantastic.
Ooh, all-star cheer. That's fantastic.
Thank you.
Wait, I have a question too.
I have a question too.
Did I hear you correctly that Mr. Nurnberger is throwing out the first pitch? Did I hear you correctly? Did I hear you correctly?
Did I hear you correctly?
That Mr. Nurnberger
That Mr. Nurnberger
is throwing out the first pitch?
is throwing out the first pitch.
Yeah.
I didn't realize he could throw a ball.
I didn't realize he can throw a ball.
Me neither.
Finally, Mr. Labby told me he is your friend. Is that true?
Finally, Dr. Labby told me that he is your friend. Is that true?
Yeah.
Great job.
Great job, Alana.
Thank you.
Board President comments?
Mrs. Bloom, can I interrupt?
Mrs. Bloom, can I interrupt?
Can we?
I'll think about it.
Can we? Well, when you're done thinking about it, say, well, when you're done thinking about it,
Well, when you're done thinking about it,
can we respectfully dismiss
can we respectfully dismiss
our amazing representatives
our amazing representatives
so that they can do their homework?
so that they can do their homework?
So do you guys, you don't want to say you want to stay?
You want to stay?
I can't imagine they would want to miss this.
Me neither.
Me neither.
Okay, say never mind.
Never mind.
Board President's comment. On March 26th, the Middlesex County School Board Association held the 39th Annual Unsung Heroes Banquet sponsored by the Association of School Administrators. It was, as always, a wonderful evening. I had the honor of announcing the last 13 schools, including our own heroes, Sarah Torino and Nicholas Bernardi. We look forward to planning next year's event. Board Vice President's comments?
Thank you. Congratulations to the students on the 3 Sayreville Middle School Odyssey of the Mind teams that competed in the Gateway Regional Tournament. One team placed third in the MEC Annual Problem, while the 2 others placed second in both Classic Problems and Stargazing Problem categories. Both of those teams will compete in the state finals. Congratulations to the members of the Sayreville War Memorial High School Future Business Leaders of America who competed and placed at the New Jersey Future Business Leaders of America State Leadership Conference in Atlantic City. Congratulations to Sayreville War Memorial High School students Sarah Torino, 12th grade, and Nicholas Bardi, 11th grade, who are Sayreville's 2024 to 2025 MCSBA, MCASA Unsung Heroes. Congratulations to Sayreville War Memorial High School senior Elijah Young, who received his prestigious Boy Scouts of America Eagle Scout badge for Elijah's Eagle Scout project. He raised over $12,000 to construct the first playground at Wilson, which he vowed to do back when he was a 3rd grader at Wilson. Congratulations to the Sayreville Middle School 6th graders Ella Hamlo and Abby Badillo, who competed magnificently at the USA Gymnastics NJ State Level 8 competition and advanced to regionals in April, which will be in Delaware. Congratulations. You say it?
And congratulations to our amazing 5th grade students who are participating at the Board of Ed meeting today in this Let Your Students Lead meeting. So.
Now I prepared some highlights about the UES. The UES is my favorite school. These are some of the things I like most in the UES. Playing football during recess, working with my friends, and playing in gym. I also learned multiplication. I would say the highlight of 4th grade is field day. Some changes that me and my classmates are hoping for in the UES. First, we would like more of a variety in the cafeteria because there are the same things week after week. The second thing, I would like there to be more of a grass area to play at recess because we only have a dirt patch to play on. Thank you.
Dr. Labby, any presentations?
Yes, Mrs. Bloom.
Yes, Mrs. Bloom.
Mrs. Coglianese
Mrs. Coglianese.
is going to make a brief presentation
Mrs. Coglianese is going to make a brief presentation
on the Let Students Lead program.
on the Let the Students Lead program.
Mrs. Coglianese.
Mrs. Coglianese.
Good evening, Dr. Labby, Mr. Glock Malloy, Mr. Nestor, Miss Hill, Dr. Aglis, Miss Burt, Mrs. Grossman, and Miss Burns, and members of the Board of Education. My name is Juliana Farrow, and I am here tonight representing Miss Coglianese, principal of Samslope Elementary School. I want to thank everyone for attending the Board of Education meeting and giving us this opportunity. Before I joined Let the Children Lead, I never knew that the Board of Education members work this hard and have so many responsibilities. In my opinion, this experience gave me confidence to not be afraid to speak in public. Tonight, we are all looking forward to making new decisions that will benefit all the Sayreville public schools. We would also like to thank our families, friends, and teachers for coming out to support us and share this experience with us. I would also like to thank the Board of Education members who volunteer their time for students and teachers.
Mrs. Bloom.
Thank you, Mrs. Coglianese.
Mrs. Bloom.
That concludes my presentation.
That concludes my presentation.
Okay, now committee reports. Say thank you.
Thank you.
And now to committee reports. Committee report now to committee reports. Okay.
Committee reports. Mr. Fernandez.
Good evening, everybody. The Government Committee meets on March 25th, and here's a brief recap on our decisions, policies, and registrations. P 5101, establish of registration North students, is still pending community review. Registrate 5,600 students. Code of conduct has been reformed based on the feedback from our March 18th BOE meeting. The update version is now able online for review. Legislate updates. We discussed the last legislation diplomas, developments, registering cell phones is used schools. District calendar updates. I'm especially happy to report one of our calendar visions moves up the last day of school. Students will now finish on June 18th, and I personally think that's cause for celebration. In fact, my Nana has promised me for 2 weeks in Disney starting the first day of summer break. So I fully support this decision. That concludes the government report.
Thank you, Mr. Fernandez. And stop causing trouble.
Yes, say yes.
Easier said than done.
Easier said than done.
Yes.
Miss Bloom,
Yes.
so would you also consider bringing me to Disney?
Not gonna happen.
Not gonna happen.
Never hurts to ask.
Okay, now student achievement, Mr. Callahan.
Student Achievement Committee, Mr. Callahan.
The Student Achievement Committee met last Tuesday afternoon. This is a summary of key topics from that meeting. Ms. Grossman reviewed updates to the Kindergarten Physical Education Curriculum Guide, which will be presented for approval at the next Board of Education meeting on April 29th. Number 2, proposed changes to this year's student calendar were discussed and will be presented for approval tonight. These changes discussed would make June 18th the last day of school for students and the date of the high school commencement, while June 20th would be the last day for staff. Additionally, due to the middle school promotion ceremony on June 17th, the June 17th Board of Education business meeting will be rescheduled to Monday, June 16th. 3, Mrs. Grossman introduced a proposal for a new high school club, Girls Who Invest, which will be presented for approval on April 29th. Mr. Nasser discussed Math 180, an alternative math program for students with disabilities, which will be up for approval tonight. He also posted an update on Camp XL. Lastly, Mrs. Britt shared updates on the climate change and Perkins grants. She's also reviewed the recent Sayreville University workshops and the plans for the June 10th Staff Development Day.
Mrs. Bloom, I have a question.
Yes.
And I'd like to direct it to Mr. Nastor.
And I'd like to direct it to Mr. Nastor.
Go ahead.
Why is it called Read 180? Shouldn't it be Read 360?
Why is it called Read 180? Shouldn't it be called
Read 360?
Read 360?
Are we only getting half the program?
Are we only getting half the program?
First of all, Dr. Labby, it's Math 180. And we at this end of the table do not want our children to go to school more than 180 days.
Say touche.
Touche.
Thank you. Middlesex County Board Association update, Ms. Bloom. Nothing new at this time. What are your thoughts about the new student identification cards?
May I go first?
Go ahead.
I feel that wearing identification lanyards at school is very important for many reasons. We scan our lanyards when we leave our classrooms to go to the nurse, bathroom, and guidance. This helps the teachers to know where we are at all times. This becomes important when we have a fire or a real lockdown situation. And if we didn't have to scan when we were going out of the classroom, the teachers would not know where we were if we were in danger. Wearing our lanyards also makes some things easier during the school day. Parents are able to know when the students get on and off the buses because they can scan their lanyards. Buying breakfast or lunch and borrowing books in the library is also easier because all we have to do is scan to show our information. There are consequences to not wearing your lanyard, but the important reasons I have shared today show why we should wear our lanyards every day.
What do you think, Mrs. Hernandez?
What do you think, Mrs. Hernandez? Mr. Hernandez?
There are so many things that we need to do with lanyards. For example, to check out books or buy lunch. Here are my thoughts about wearing lanyards. First, we'll talk about the good things about wearing lanyards. It helps you buy lunch, and if you're really hungry, you would need to bring it, so you're not last in line. You need it to borrow books so you have something to read, or if there's a project and you need a book from the library. What happens when you don't wear your lanyard? You won't be able to borrow books, and you'll be the last one in line, which I don't like. But the purpose of these rules is to prepare you for other grades when the consequences are higher.
I'm interested in what you think, Mrs. Hill.
I'm interested in what you think, Mrs. Hill.
I think we should wear lanyards every day. I think this because it shows that you got on and off the bus so your guardians know where you are at all times. Also, when people are scanning on the bus driver will know if someone got off at the wrong stop. Another reason is it will be easier to keep track of school lunches and who owes money. Finally, in the library, books can be taken out with lanyards because it will pop up when you scan your ID card. I think that lanyards improve safety in all schools. What do you think? Mr. Naster.
I think wearing lanyards is reasonable because it's for students, teachers, and staff's safety. My overall view is to wear them. First, I think it's a good idea to be scanning off and on the bus. That's reasonable because the parents and staff need to know which students got on or off the bus. Also, because the staff needs to know if you're safe in the school. Second, for bathrooms, you should wear a lanyard so your teachers know where you went and so staff knows who scanned in. I think you should wear your lanyard for the nurse because they know the time and they made sure you went there, and for guidance, you should wear your lanyard so they know you're there. In conclusion, I think you should wear your lanyard so your teachers know where you are and so they know you're safe. The consequences are not wearing a lanyard are bad, so I think you should wear your lanyard every day. I also think it's unfair how you have to go to the back of the lunch line, so just wear your lanyard.
Next, Mr. Glock-Malloy.
You're up next, Mr. Glock-Malloy.
In my opinion, a lanyard is good in a way and bad in a way. Some good things about lanyards are when you scan off and on the bus, your parents can see from the Where's the Bus app. Another reason the lanyard is good is because we can get lunch from it and library books. If we didn't have lanyards and we just went into the school, we could put ourselves in danger because a stranger from anywhere could randomly come into the school without identification. Some bad things about a lanyard are that it is annoying to wear around your neck because it scratches your skin. Also, it gets lost easily. Next year, if we forget our lanyard, we will be sent to detention. The lanyard's importance and safety of its use is more good than bad. What do you think, Miss Maldonado? I don't know.
I think that wearing identification lanyards is good. It helps with safety a lot. With wearing identification lanyards, the school can see where you are going to the nurse, bathroom, guidance, lunch, etc. Also, your parents can see if you get onto the bus and off the bus. Some consequences are not being able to get a library book, and during lunch, if you don't have your lanyard, you have to wait for all the tables to be called, then you can get your lunch. I like lanyards, but they can be irritating once in a while. What do you think, Mr. Callahan?
In my opinion, there are good and bad things about wearing lanyards. Lanyards are good for many reasons. Many reasons. With scanning getting on and off the buses, it can help parents and school staff track if the child/children got on the right bus and the time they got on and off. Thing is, the bus app is terrible. Like 84 minutes, I'm not gonna wait that long. With having to scan into the bathrooms, nurse, and guidance office, the school can keep track of where the child is at any given time. Lanyards can be useful if you get hurt, in which case the school can scan your ID and know your parents' contact information and any allergies you may have, which can be useful in critical times. Lanyards are needed to borrow books and buy lunch. This can be a bad thing as well, because if you're doing like a project or something that needs a book, you won't be able to borrow a book without the lanyard, or if you didn't bring your lanyard down to lunch, you have to wait till everyone is called, which I find unfair. I find the consequences for not having your ID is pretty reasonable, because if you don't wear your lanyard, you probably don't have as much protection as if you had actually worn the lanyard. What do you think, Ms. Chudkowski?
I think wearing identification lanyards every day is very important because they help keep us safe and organized at school. Lanyards show teachers and staff that we belong at school, preventing unknown people from entering and protecting everyone. They also allow us to scan on and off buses, helping our parents and the school know exactly when we arrive and leave. Scanning our lanyards when going to the bathroom, nurse, or guidance counselor also helps teachers quickly know where we are in case of an emergency. Lanyards have other benefits too. They help us borrow books from the library, as scanning our ID cards tell the school what books you have borrowed and when they must be returned. Additionally, lanyards help parents keep track of how much money we spend at lunch and see what we choose to eat. This helps us make healthy and responsible decisions. If we forget or don't wear our lanyards, we may face several consequences, like losing privileges to borrow books or buy lunch. Overall, identification lanyards make school fair, more organized, and encourage students to be more responsible. What do you think, Mr. Smith? I think scanning on and off the bus is a very good idea. That way your parents and guardians can see where you are. I think that not being able to borrow a book if you don't have your lanyard is a small punishment, and I think there should be more punishments for forgetting your lanyard. Having to scan in and out of the bathroom is very annoying. What if you have to go to, especially if you have to go to the bathroom very badly, then you have to wait to scan your ID. I think that every day when you get on and off the bus, you have to scan in. You should have to scan into school, and if you don't have your lanyard, you have to wait. You have to wait to get into the school. What do you think, Mrs. Bloom?
These are some benefits and disadvantages for wearing your lanyard. School identification lanyards to school. To begin, lanyards have many advantages. One advantage is helping the school know where you are. Another advantage is that it gives the school the information they need to know, like if you got on the right bus or not. It also helps the parent's child or children to know if they come on the bus when they have an after-school program. It helps the school find where you are at any given time because of your lanyard. It also makes it easier to find them because of the scanner in the school nurse, bathroom, or going to guidance. Even though there are many consequences for not wearing your lanyard, I think they are agreeable and necessary for the kids to learn. One bad side of not wearing your lanyard to school is that it can cause you to go last at lunch. Because of this, you will have less time to finish your food, and if you are starving, well, then you're out of luck. Another bad side of not wearing your lanyard is that you don't get to book borrow. If you have to get a book from the library for a really important project, you'll have to wait 2 more weeks. This teaches us to wear our lanyards early on so we don't get detention or lunch detention for not wearing our lanyards in the middle school or high school. What do you think, Miss Napolitano?
I feel that lanyards have both a good and bad side to them. To start, I feel lanyards are a useful source because if you need to get lunch, your account can easily be pulled up and you can check out books in the library. When you are going home on the bus, you are required to sign in and out. This then goes to your parent or guardian's phone to show that you got on the right bus and what time you got on the bus. However, I do believe there are some bad, unfair qualities to lanyards, such as if you leave your lanyard in your class, you will be the last to get lunch or get on the bus. You also cannot check out books from the library. Lanyards can often be itchy or uncomfortable, which can sometimes leave red marks on your skin. In the UES, consequences aren't that bad, but as you advance to the middle school and high school, not wearing your lanyard can lead to multiple warnings that can eventually lead you to a detention. Lanyards are for the student's safety, and I agree that they can be very helpful. This is my opinion on lanyards and SAMHSA. Thank you. What do you think, Mr. Fernandez?
First, ID lanyards play an important role on the bus. I think it is good for the bus because if kids are getting off and off at the right stop and if they're getting off with their friends, and for the parents to know where the bus is and how far away the bus is. It also helps the bus driver know who scans in and out, just like the teachers do when they arrive and leave school. Next, they also play an important role for security. They are good for security because ID lanyards let security know who is at school or not at school. They also make it so security can know who is supposed to be at the school and who is not. Also, ID lanyards help the school run smoothly. For example, they help with students' use of the bathroom. It is good for us to use. It is good for us to have to scan in and out for the bathroom because if there's a fight in the bathroom or if there's a mess with water, soap, or toilet paper, the student's IDs notified who is in the bathroom. Another thing is when students go to the nurse, the student ID can Also keep track of how many times the student has come to the nurse office and share that with their teacher and parent. The librarian also uses the student IDs each time they check out 2 books. They scan their ID and the kids know if they have a book out, and the librarian knows how many books they have out. That's important because it keeps the librarian running smoothly. The student ID lanyards are also important in the cafeteria for lunch payments. The ID cards can keep track of student lunch account. Kids can tell their mom and dad to put more money in their lunch account so they can have enough money for lunch. Student ID lanyards play a very important role at school. There should be a consequence if students do not have them. I think for the first consequence, they should be a warning, and if they forget it again, they should have lunch detention and fill out a form to get a new lanyard and come up with a plan that will help them remember it, like putting in their backpack as soon as they get home or off the bus. As you can see, there are many reasons that support the use of ID lanyards at school. I always be sure wearing mine, and make sure you always be sharing yours too. What do you think, Mrs. Pabon?
There are a lot of good things and bad things about the lanyard. Some things are good about it is that it helps your parents track you. The lunch line moves faster so you can have more time to eat. Some bad things are if you don't have your lanyard, you can't borrow books from the library. Also, if you don't have your lanyard, you have to wait for everyone to get their lunch before you do, which I think is fair because that will remind you to bring your lanyard. This is what I think about the lanyard. What do you think, Dr. Aguiles?
Wearing lanyards to school every day has its good and bad sides. The useful things we do with our ID cards are to scan the ID on and off the bus, going to the bathroom when you are seeing the nurse and guidance, borrowing books, and paying for lunch. It also tells your parent/guardian when you have entered the bus and got off the bus. It also shows the parent/guardian when you have used the bathroom. It is also very good to have your lanyard because all the teachers can recognize you. I understand why the school wants us to wear the lanyard, and most of the consequences are fair. One of the rules the school has is unfair is, if someone forgets the lanyard/ID card at home or lost the lanyard, they have to wait until everyone else has gotten their lunch. Then they can go get their lunch. Like, what if they're really hungry that day? It doesn't seem right to make someone just wait just because they forgot their lanyard/ID card. I think there could be a better way to handle it that still reminds students to wear the lanyard every day, but doesn't mess with their lunch. What do you think, Mrs. Burns?
I have many mixed feelings about lanyards. To start off, I think they are very useful for safety reasons and making the school day easier, but the case that the IDs go into often gets dirty and ripped. Here at Sayreville Upper Elementary School, we use these lanyards for many different things, such as scanning onto and off the bus, getting lunch, scanning into the bathrooms, scanning into the nurse's office, scanning into the guidance office, and checking out a library book. There are some consequences of not wearing your lanyard, though. Some of these consequences are having to go to the back of the line for your bus and being the last person to buy lunch. You might also have to write your name into the sign-out book instead of scanning your lanyard. Although these lanyards are very useful in many different ways, there are a few things I don't like about them. For example, sometimes they could be a bit itchy at the back or sides of your neck. Another thing I don't really like about lanyards is that you have to remember them every day. I also dislike the fact that you have to wait until everyone is done buying lunch or getting onto the bus, because if you just left it into the classroom, you have to wait for just possibly being rushed or making a simple mistake that could easily be sorted out. In conclusion, I have many mixed feelings about lanyards. What do you think, Ms. Grossman?
I think that the lanyards this year are good for certain things. With the lanyard, you can borrow books from the library and you can even get lanyard tags. Also, you don't need to wait to get lunch. When you scan into the bus, you don't need to wait in line and type your PIN code in. It ensures our safety by showing that we are students of the Sayreville School District. But the lanyard sometimes does get a little annoying, whether you forget it or someone else does.
Some consequences are that if you want to borrow a book, you can't without a lanyard. When you get lunch, you have to wait till all the tables are called and people without lanyards come. The most annoying thing about the lanyards is having to scan before entering the bathroom. What do you think, Mrs. Burt?
What I like wearing lanyards is they are a useful thing to use because when you get on the bus, your parents can check where your bus is, and they can check what time you scan on your bus. You can also use your lanyard to scan or get food, which makes the feeling that you're in the middle school because you will have to wear this in the middle school, and that will give you consequences, which I do not like. Bet you nobody does. And you can also borrow books from the Sampsell Upper Elementary School, but a library. But there's this rule: you need your lanyard to book borrow, and they have good books to read. This is what I like about wearing lanyards to school. Back to you, Ms. Bloom.
Thank you, everyone.
Mrs. Bloom? Mrs. Bloom?
Mrs. Bloom,
Can I ask Mr.
can I ask Mr. Sadowski
what he thinks?
what he thinks?
Absolutely.
My opinion on IDs and lanyards is generally positive, and I think they service the school district in a good way. Lanyards and IDs help keep us safe by identifying us in case of emergency and can let parents know where kids are in schools and on buses. Some drawbacks of IDs are the consequences when you don't have it. This includes being last to get lunch, not getting books from the library, and detention in the middle school and high school. I think some of these consequences are a bit extreme, such as detention, because personally I think detention is not the best form of punishment, as it enables kids to get more pent-up anger and repeat the same actions again. This is my opinion on IDs and lanyards. What do you think, Mrs. Coglianese?
Wearing the school lanyard that shows your ID has some good things and some bad things. I think wearing lanyards to school every day is a good idea because it helps keep us safe. When we wear our IDs, teachers know who we are, and it's harder for someone who doesn't belong at our school to sneak in. The lanyards are also helpful when we get on and off the bus, and it helps the school know we are getting on the right bus. We also have to scan our lanyards when we go to the bathroom, nurse, or guidance, which makes it easier for the school to keep track of where we are and how often or long we were there. The lanyards are also used for borrowing books from the library and paying for lunch, so it's really important to have your lanyard at all times. The most important time to have your lanyard is during a fire drill or lockdown. This helps the teachers know who you are and see what class you are in to tell someone. But there are some bad things too. Sometimes the lanyard could be annoying because it swings around when you're playing or working. Also, if you forget to wear your lanyard, you can't get your lunch right away. You have to wait until all the other students are called first, which I think is unfair. Also, for the bus, you have to wait until all the students scan their IDs before you can punch in your code. So while the lanyard helps you stay safe and organized, it can also be a little annoying, especially when it makes you wait for lunch. So always remember to wear your ID. What do you think, Mr. Tola?
I think that wearing lanyards every day to school is a good thing. I think this because it's good for you to learn about responsibility. It is also a good procedure to get us ready for middle school, high school, or even adult life in college. The consequences for not wearing your lanyard are okay because they teach you that it is important to remember stuff. It will show in a way that if you don't have your lanyard at lunch, you would have to go to the end of the lunch line. The consequence of detention is reasonable because you get warnings, and if you still don't bring the lanyard, it just shows you didn't listen and were careless. I also have one thought that if you didn't wear your lanyard one day, maybe it wasn't on purpose because maybe a friend or someone messed with it or took it by accident. Those are my thoughts about wearing lanyards every day. Mrs. Bloom. Thank you for allowing us to engage in this conversation.
You're very welcome. Any questions?
Mrs. Bloom, I would like the board to vote on a new rule. If you forget your lanyard, you go to the front of the line.
We're gonna table that.
April Fools.
Anyone else? We will now open to public on presentation and agenda items only. Seeing none, we will close public. Oh. Please state your name and address.
Shanae McMillan, Parlin, New Jersey. I want to formally address concerns regarding the recent disciplinary action taken against my daughter, an 8th grade student at Sayreville Middle School. Specifically, I'm seeking clarification and documentation concerning the events leading up to the following incident on February 25th. Over the past several months, my daughter has been subjected to persistent bullying by another student, which has significantly impacted her emotional well-being and academic performance. Despite my previous communications with school administration and the provision of detailed documentation outlining these incidents, it appears that adequate measures to safeguard my daughter were not implemented. Furthermore, she was not offered counseling or support to address the trauma resulting from these experiences. We also have documentation proving that my daughter was being bullied by another student prior to the incident. Documentation that does not appear to have been taken into consideration when evaluating the situation or determining the disciplinary response. This was my daughter's first such incident during this current academic year. However, the disciplinary measures imposed upon her appear disproportionately severe, particularly given the circumstances and in comparison to the school's own discipline policies. According to the Sayreville Middle School 2024 and 2025 student handbook, students involved in a first-time fight are subject to a 3 to 5 day out-of-school suspension. My daughter's punishment exceeds this range, which I believe constitutes a violation of her rights under the Student Code of Conduct. Furthermore, as outlined in the handbook's harassment, intimidation, and bullying, the HIB section, students are entitled to protections and procedures when reporting bullying. I respectfully ask for documentation outlining what interventions, supports, and protective measures were provided to my daughter after she reported being harassed and bullied, and whether those steps were handled in accordance with Sayreville's HIB policy, as well as my complaints that I made to Sayreville administration. In light of the above, I respectfully request the following: detailed documentation, intervention review of disciplinary measures, and support services. I believe my daughter's rights and due process as a student have been overlooked, and I request a fair review of how this matter was handled. It is my goal to work with the school and district to ensure my daughter is treated fairly, receives the appropriate academic and emotional support, and is not further penalized or traumatized without proper regard to her documented history as a victim. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing none, we will close public. Dr. Labby, please give the superintendent's report.
Thank you, Mrs. Bloom. As always, I'll try to be brief. On the finance and infrastructure portion of the agenda, which can be found on pages 2 through 7, among other motions, in item number 2, we are asking you to accept a grant from the Middlesex County Office of Culture and Heritage in the amount of $2,000 to be used for transportation costs for the Samsel Upper Elementary School field trip to East Jersey, Old Town, and Cornelius Lowe House Museum. In item number 5, which can be found on page 2, we are also asking you to approve the purchase with HMH Education in the amount of $68,246.23 for math 180 curriculum materials. online subscriptions, and professional development for students with disabilities in grades 4 through 8. In addition, in items number 12 and 13, which can be found on page 5 and 6, we are asking you to approve the field trips for 4th grade students and the teachers from the Sayreville Upper Elementary School who will tour the Sayreville Historical Society and visit local landmarks, and 5th grade students and teachers from the Sayreville Upper Elementary School who will tour the Old Towny Village and the Cornelius Low House in Piscataway to visit historic homes of the 17th and 18th century. Likewise, in item 15E and F on pages 6 and 7, we are asking you to approve of 23 Sayreville Upper Elementary tag students and the 3 faculty members on April 23rd, and 21 tag students and the 3 faculty members on April 29th to go to the Liberty Science Center in Jersey City, where students will participate in activities and exhibits related to classroom learning. Are there any questions or comments on these finance and infrastructure motions?
Dr. Labby, I have a question about page 5, item number 12. Could you share about some of the local landmarks the students will be visiting?
I would love to,
I would love to.
but I'm going to ask Mrs. Coglianese to do so for me since she's been on the trip before.
But I'm going to ask Mrs. Coglianese to do so for me since she has been on the trip before. On the bus, we take a tour of the town. Of Lower Sayreville. During places near the waterfront. Going to the Borough Hall. And making a stop. Sayreville Historical Society. And Sayreville Library.
Thank you so much. I know they'll learn a lot from each one.
Dr. Labby, I have a question. On page 2, bullet point 3, do we have an estimate on the cost associated with this purchase?
Can you repeat the question?
Can you repeat the question?
Do we have an estimate on the cost associated with this purchase?
What item number? Number 3.
On page 2, bullet point 3.
Ms. Hill.
Miss Hill?
Not at this moment.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
Any other questions?
You're going to just say, wait for a second, then
Next, in item number 1 on the student achievement portion of the agenda, which can be found on page 7, we are asking you to approve long-term suspensions for 2 students. In addition, on number 2, which can also be found on page 7, we are asking you to approve the incorporation of the Math 180 intervention program published by Houghton Mifflin Harcourt into the district's pull-out replacement math curriculum. Likewise, on the governance portion of the agenda, which can be found on pages 8 through 9,
In item number 1, we are asking you to approve the March 18th, 2025 through March 31st, 2025 HIB report, including any investigations and or recommendations for action provided by the superintendent. In item number 2, we are asking you to approve the revised 2024 and 2025 school district calendar, which will make the last day of school for students June 18th, 2025, and the last day for staff June 20th, 2025. Are there any questions or comments on the student achievement or governance motion? Yes.
I want to confirm June 18th is the last day.
And
I want it for the record that my Disney trip starts on June 19th.
Say, cross your fingers
cross your fingers
and your toes
and your toes
that we don't have to close school
that we don't have to close school
from now until then.
from now until then.
Are there
Will do.
Are there any more questions?
Are there any other questions? If there are none,
Dr. Labby,
May I?
yes.
may I ask, may I give an update on the curriculum and instruction department?
Sure.
The Curriculum and Instruction Department is working diligently on plans for all of the wonderful summer programming we offer here in Sayreville. One, learning acceleration will be offered for all of our multilingual learners and other identified students in grades 1 to 5 here at Sayreville Upper Elementary during July. 2, credit recovery will be available for middle school and high school students as well. 3, also all students planning to take an AP quiz next year will be invited to our AP boot camp at the high school beginning June 20th through July 30th. Tonight, we are seeking the Board of Education's approval of the Sayreville Upper Elementary School teachers who are facilitating the spring STEAM clubs. The clubs that are running include Page to Stage, Movie Maker with Silas, Artistic Mathematicians, Coding, Podcasting, Wondrous Writers, and STEAM.
About pre-K.
Mrs. Burns, would you like to add about pre-K?
Yes. The Early Childhood Department has been working hard on the preschool grant that was just submitted to the Department of Education for approval in the amount of $11 million. This grant allows the district to provide universal preschool to all 3- and 4-year-olds who are residents of Sayreville. We had an in-house Tools of the Mind coaches visit some of our preschool classes last week and offered support to the teachers as they implement the Tools of the Mind curriculum. At the end of the day, they met as a group to discuss upping the challenge for those who will be moving up to kindergarten. We have lots of upcoming events at Project Before. They have an egg hunt on April 8th. They also have a multicultural night which will be held at Slover on April 22nd and opened to all the families of Project Before families. They are in the process of planning a trip to Von Thun Farms in early May. The Fun Bus is coming to Project Before in June. They are also planning a preschool prom for students who are entering kindergarten. Currently, at both Project Before locations, they are offering after-school tutoring for our multilingual learners. Mrs. Burns has been working very closely with Mrs. Grossman on choosing a literacy screener to be used in our elementary schools next year. Universal screening and early interventions are so important for addressing reading challenges, so they will be reviewing products. Tonight, Mrs. Burns is seeking the Board of Education's approval for Teaching Strategies Gold. Teaching Strategies Gold is used by the teachers in preschool as it helps teachers to observe children during the day in the classroom while they are learning and playing. Ms. Burt?
Connection to student achievement and staff development. Good evening. We had a very meaningful district professional committee on Friday, March 21st, 2025. The committee reviewed the final copy of the district professional development vision, and we planned and collaborated for the June 10th Staff Development Day. Some important details of the day are to include is professional development brochure will be emailed to staff May 8th, 2025. The registration opens on Monday, May 12th. The registration closes on Wednesday, May 14th. We have various talented presenters from our in-district staff to consultants. Also, over the next 2 weeks during the month of April, there are 6 professional learning sessions for our Year 1 and Year 2 staff members.
Comments or questions?
Are there any more comments or questions?
Let's move to the personnel section.
Let's move to the personal section.
So I'm going to say finally.
Finally, among other motions on the personal portion of the agenda, which can be found on pages 10 through 15, in item number 1, which can be found on page 10, we are asking you to graciously accept the retirement of Keith Grotto, maintenance worker, effective June 1st, 2025, and Kimberly Thornton, ASI teacher at the Truman School, effective July 1st, 2025. In addition, in item number 6 on page 11, we are asking you to appoint non-certificate staff for the 2024-25 school year. Likewise, in items number 7 through 8 on page 12, we are asking you to approve the transfer of non-certificate staff. Lastly, in item number 12, which can be found on pages 13 through 14, we are asking you to appoint personnel for the Samsel Upper Elementary School STEAM clubs, which will run from April 1st, 2025 through June 12, 2025, and is funded through the federal Title IV. Federal 4 grant? Federal 4 grant. Are there any questions or comments on any of the other personal motions on the agenda?
Seeing none.
Seeing none, Mrs. Bloom, that concludes my superintendent's report.
Thank you, Dr. Labby. Any questions from the board on the agenda?
Best superintendent's report ever.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. We need a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Moved.
Second.
Ms. Hill?
Mr. Callahan?
Yes.
Mrs. Jakowski?
Yes.
Mr. Fernandez?
Yes.
Mrs. Hernandez?
Absent.
Mrs. Maldonado?
Yes.
Mrs. Napolitano?
Yes.
Mrs. Paboon?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mrs. Bloom?
Yes. We will open up to public for any questions. Please remember that each speaker has only 3 minutes. Public time is limited to 30 minutes total. Sayreville residents will speak first. If you intend to speak, please line up at this time. Seeing none, we will close public. Any closing comments from the board?
Yes. Yes.
Respectfully, say respectfully.
Respectfully.
Why am I not surprised?
May I ask
May I ask
if Mr. Tola
if Mr. Tola
can make a closing comment?
can make a closing comment?
And then we will go
And then we will go
right to Mrs. Babone.
right to Mrs. Babone.
Absolutely.
Good evening, members of the Sayreville Board of Education and Central Administration. My name is Zaria Riaz, and I am here tonight representing Mr. Tola, Vice Principal of the Samsel Upper Elementary School. I would like the students who have participated in the Let the Children Lead program to know how proud I am of their hard work and dedication to our school in the borough of Sayreville. Within these students lies the future of our community. I would also like to thank all the staff members that came out tonight to support their students. Their dedication is just one of the many things that make them amazing educators. Thank you again for your participation and support in this special evening.
Mrs. Pabon.
Hello. I'm actually going to speak for myself because I want to thank my board representative tonight and all of the students here because you guys are really very impressive. All of you had great things to say and made sense about the lanyards. And just so you know, Dr. Labby, it was 9 against 2 who were not in favor of that lunch line rule. But just to keep that in mind. But I just wanted to say that you have your whole future ahead of you. You really do. I think you're all going to be successful and, take advantage of your future because the world is right in your hand there. So don't forget that, okay? You could be whatever you want to be. So congratulations.
I have a question for Mrs. Bloom.
Go ahead.
Wouldn't you agree that I am the best board member ever?
The jury is still out.
Say, speaking of the jury,
Speaking of the jury,
I think Dr. Aguilis would like.
I think Dr. Aguilis would like to say something.
We're busy at work hiring substitutes for teachers as well as cafeteria workers, bus drivers, bus aides, and custodial staff. We are also attending career fairs at colleges, and we will be holding our own in district career fair later in April or early May. The HR office is preparing for our busiest time of the year, summertime, and we are looking forward to welcome new faculty and staff to join us in Sayreville.
Thank you.
Speaking of hiring buildings and ground staff,
Speaking of hiring building and ground staff,
I think Mr.
I think Mr.
Sadowski
Sadowski
also wants to say something.
also wants to say something.
We are currently in the process of remodeling several bathrooms in the middle school and looking forward to starting remodeling process of several bathrooms in the Eisenhower School. In addition, the referendum projects are still ongoing. We are nearing the completion of the window projects as well as the district-wide air conditioning upgrades. We are also planning to add digital signage in front of each of our schools. As you can see, we are very busy with our big projects in addition to the day-to-day operations of cleaning the schools and maintaining the buildings so they are safe and clean for all the students and staff.
Speaking of big projects,
I think Mr. a couple planned too.
I think Mr. Naster has a couple planned too.
The Department of Student Services would like to share the following. Attention preschool and kindergarten parents. Our online registration is currently open for Project Before preschool and kindergarten registration. Please visit the Sayreville Public Schools website for further information. On or about April 14th, online registration for Camp Excel will be open. Please visit the Sayreville Public Schools website for further information on our extended school year program. Our spring unified basketball season was a success with our March Madness tournament held at our elementary school, Samsel Upper Elementary School, and Sayreville Middle School, and Sayreville High School. Thank you to our student athletes for their hard work and competitive but caring spirit. Next up is our summer unified track and field season. Be on the lookout for season announcements for preschool, elementary, middle, and high school team. We are hoping to compete against a team once again from a neighboring town. Let's go Bombers! Finally, please come out and support our very own Bombers Beyond Cafe and our Bombers Beyond Apparel store and community hub. which is located at 132 Main Street in Sayreville. You can enjoy a really good cup of coffee and some baked goods in a warm atmosphere that embraces and includes people of all abilities.
I think Mr. Glockamoy
Also has some tech talk for you.
also has some tech talk for you.
Information system technology and operation focus on several of the non-instructional departments of the school district. Primarily, the departments ensure a technology function. Reports are submitted to the other agencies, and the student, staff, and building remain safe. We have much work to do to support end-of-year events.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay, now I'm going to take a minute. Anyone who knows me know this was initially not my favorite meeting, but it has grown on me since we have taken the time to make it concise so that the children can speak and we don't get bogged down with too much board business. So I would like to thank all of these young people who took the time to come to tonight's meeting to share with us their thoughts, and hopefully you will all get involved in the Board of Education or the town moving forward. We thank you very much for being here.
Ms. Bloom, I would just also like to kind of echo that and what Ms. Pabon said. This has always been one of my favorite meetings.
You haven't been here that long.
No, that's true, but the kids did a fantastic job tonight. It's always so much fun to see the board through their eyes and what's important to them. And I think they all expressed that really, really well tonight. I expect to see a big run next year for the middle school student council representative to the Board of Education, because I'd love to see some of these faces back here as a student council representative. And I wish you all the best of luck finishing up 5th grade and great success in the future.
Yeah, I'd like to say a few words as well. This has always been my favorite meeting. This is my 4th one, and mostly because the intellectual capacity in this room is always the highest at this meeting. All the kids here do a great job, and more importantly, the parents, you've done a great job with all these amazing children. So thank you for the job you've done. Thank you for the administration for teaching our kids and having this event, because without the teachers and without the parents, these young individuals wouldn't be as advanced and as articulate as they are, which clearly they're far more articulate than I am. So thank you, especially to my representative. You did a great job.
We need a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
One more time. Say aye.
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 That was basically
Eileen.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.